Hey, how's it going, eh? I figured since I'm working on a hog, I'd wear the leather jacket so it fits in just like the fawns from Happy Days. Anyway, welcome to another Toss the Sprue. We're just going to cover a few things here today. Some recent adds to the stash, and some upcoming shows and whatnot, as well as some news about Testors that's going around or supposedly going around. So I think we'll start with that first. There's a thing going around on Facebook, and I assume other areas on the World Wide Web, that Testors is being closed down, that they're no longer going to be offering their product. Rust-Oleum is shutting them down, that type of thing. So I guess they've been inundated with calls. One of the things that they're saying is that this is just for international, and not to worry, it's you're all good in the US of A and whatnot. So I guess what I'm going to read to you here comes from the hobby store in Toronto, and this is the official hobby service announcement. There's been a lot of information and misinformation going around today with regards to the Testors company. We can only report what we have heard ourselves. Having spoken to representatives at Rust-Oleum USA and Rust-Oleum Canada, as well as our sales reps at two major Canadian hobby distributors, they are unaware of any discontinuation of Testors products, and if such an event were to happen, information would have circulated through official channels. The only products that for certain have been discontinued by Testors are the Aztec airbrushes, the international and military enamels, and the custom lacquer system. So that's all they know of at this point. We'll have to see, I guess. The thing that concerns me is this custom lacquer system. Does that mean the colors that we all love for our automotive builds, the clears and whatnot? I don't, like the wet look clear and that type of stuff. I don't know if that means that or not, but if it is, we're really going to miss those products. But anyway, that's where it stands. Testors is not being totally phased out or anything. Rust-Oleum just seems to be doing a reset and concentrating on what they think is the best products for them to be selling. Who knows? Hopefully that clarifies things for people. Let's do what I've picked up recently. One TAPS meeting at Wheels and Wings. Speaking of Wheels and Wings, they're the ones that put out this post. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I got the USS Shenzhou from the new Star Trek Discovery program. While I've not was thrilled with the show itself, especially the first season, they did create some interesting ships, kind of not canonish, but they were interesting ships. I like the Shenzhou, and I certainly like their interpretation of the Enterprise. I hope to get that one soon. There's 3 ships in this series from Polar Lights. There's the Discovery herself, which I don't have, and I'm not in a big hurry to get. There's the Shenzhou, and then there's the Discovery interpretation of the USS Enterprise, which is a really good looking ship. And I think if JJ had presented something like that in their movies, they wouldn't have had so much flack. There's some great decal sheets in this kit, and I'm looking forward to building this one out. It has clear parts and could be easily lit, but I'm not doing that. The biggest thing with these are their 1/2500 scale, which is kind of on the small size, and like these, at least here in Canada, you're looking at close to 50 bucks. So that I don't like. That's why I'm not worried about getting Discovery, but I will probably still pop the money for their version, the Enterprise. Moving on, at the Group 25 model car contest, I picked up this, well, it's a repop, but it's same box art as the original edition of the Cord, 1937 Cord. Beautiful car, as I've probably mentioned in previous videos, and I bought it mainly to have the chassis components because I do have a few resin bodies from Bob Shelton of different types of Cords, so be a donor for that. I picked up this little Suzuki Sports Alto Works N1 version, which is one of the Japanese K cars and one of the really small K cars, and I just thought it was a hoot that they race these. This is an older kit. I forget, I saw it 2008. Okay, well, it's still 11 years old. The decals are kind of yellowed, so I'll have to see about that, but I think that makes a real cool little race car. And last but not least for this edition is this Daihatsu Move SR Turbo in field. But there again, it's a Woody. What can I say? I couldn't resist. So that's and at the Group 25 show I picked up some built-ups to play with, to resurrect. And these probably won't show up that well. This is the 41 Chevy pickup. I have in the bag, I have two of the 41 AMT 41 Woodies. And then there's one 2829 Woody. I'm not going to pull it out. They need repairs. I see if I'll strip them and redo them in my own way or not. And but I couldn't resist. I got a really good price from Greg. I should have had their card out, and I don't. For the guys here in Ontario, Greg and Ron sell model kits, usually at a pretty good price at the shows and whatnot, and you can get in touch with them. I'll have to do another video and provide a link because I don't have their card with me here as I film. So anyway, keep an eye out for them at shows, and you can pick up a good deal on used model kits. They don't sell new stuff, but used. They buy collections and all that, and so you can buy built-ups, or somebody sold their collection. So okay, we're going to move on to upcoming shows and contests and stuff. A couple of them I don't have flyers for, so I hope I can remember how to put the picture up above my ugly face so you can actually see the picture of the flyer as I talk about them. But this one, we'll start with this one, is the Ottawa Scale Auto Contest in Ottawa, Ontario. It's a growing show. I went 2 years ago, I think it was, met up with Steve Minion, and not to mention some of the fellas I know from Ottawa. It's been growing. They've moved to a new location. It's major EJG Holland VC Armory / Gymnasium, 21 Walkley Road in Ottawa, Ontario. That's Sunday, October 27th, so in a couple of days. It goes from 9 till 4. There's no judging. It's basically a People's Choice type judging, so it's sort of NNL-ish. If you're coming in, it's free, and then they charge I think they charge $7 for up to 5 models, and then it goes from there. The theme is the Summer 69, any vehicle from the 1969 model year. So if you're in Eastern Ontario or Western Quebec, or one of the states close to there, you might want to check that out. I know it's not a lot of notice by the time this gets posted on YouTube, but if you want to come up and check it out, I think you'd enjoy it. It's a good little show. Next up next weekend is the NNL Nats down in Atlanta. Their theme is Jump on the Band Wagon. So there's two themes basically, wagons and band sponsorship, like beer, tobacco, whatever on race cars. That's the type of thing they're thinking. So, and that's a fantastic show. I hope to get down there again someday. It's not going to be this year, but go check that out if you can. A lot of YouTubers down there. That's what prompted me to go down. I guess it's 3 years ago now. Just a great gathering of YouTubers, so that's a good reason. And it's a great show and a lot of vendors there. Next up is another one I don't have the physical flyer for, but it's the Detroit NNL, or the Motor City NNL in Warren, Michigan. Bill Allen and I are going back to that again this year. It's a show that's grown quite a bit. I mean, the first time we went, there wasn't all that much relatively on the tables. Last year, it was fantastic. Like, there was a lot of great builds on the tables. So we're going to go down there. So I'll be having coverage from that show. That is November 10th at the Macomb Community Center. Hopefully I get the flyer here. You can look it up online. They're pretty much, I think, on Facebook. But it is November 10th, 9 till 3 or 4. So check it out. Great show. Coming up later in November, Sunday, November 24th, is the Fulton Model Car and Truck Show in Fulton, New York. I've heard from the guys from Kingston and whatnot that it's a pretty good show, some good vendors and whatnot. It's at the Volney Fire Department Barn, 3002 State Route 3, Fulton, New York. It's from 9 till 4 on November 24th. It's their 28th annual, so I would say it's got to be going pretty good to still be going for 28 years. Next up, we're heading into next year, 2020. And of course, this is not comprehensive. This is just stuff I have access to or could go to or whatever for the most part. First one is the 2020 Toronto Model Car and Slot Car Hobby Flea Market. So this is a flea market only. It's Sunday, March 8th, 2020 at the Franklin Horner Community Center. That's where Group 25 has been having their events the past few years. So check that one out if you want to do some after Christmas shopping. There's always some good deals to be found there. The next big show for Ontario is Heritage Con number 14. That is March 22nd, 2020 at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum in Hamilton. Another fantastic show. Lots of great vendors. Lots of cool stuff on the tables, and a lot of airplanes to check out while you're in the museum. So that's always a worthwhile show to get to. NNL East is coming up April 25th, 2020. There's the little flyer that we got in our bag back last April, or this past April. The two themes for that, the upcoming NNL, is Known Survivors. So old original customs from our youth, restorations, and modern recreations. And the other sub-theme is box art models. So any model built to resemble or be identical to the box art model, that's what qualifies for that theme. Always a great show. You know, you get 1,000 car models plus on tables. It's like just drool all day long, not to mention the shopping. So we won't mention the shopping. And lastly, for next year is the 2020 Kingston Modelorama NNL, the Model Car Truck and Military NNL in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. It's Sunday, May 3rd, 2020. The doors open at 9 a.m. and it remains at the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 560, 734 Montreal Street. So keep that one in mind if you're, if you want to check out that show in Kingston, Ontario. It's a good little show. It's worth the drive to Kingston. Well, it's time for me to get back to working on my hog. And then I have to start on the sheep.